It was very much a social center. It's a huge emotional memory for so many people. Everybody who grew up in Charleston has a story about the Will Rogers.
Coming up tonight on Newswatch, we'll tell you why this group of residents would help save a deteriorating theater in a heartbeat.
Also, a bird collected in central Illinois tests positive for avian influenza. We'll tell you what local health officials say about the discovery. Ben?
A white start to the work week in East Central Illinois with the snow that fell over the weekend. Now we will be having more than one chance to add on to that snow that's already on the ground. This is Newswatch, and your Monday evening edition is next.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection, commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
Well, don't expect to enjoy any of that warmer weather this week. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Williamson.
And I'm Andrew Spade. The viewing area will soon be under a cold weather advisory. Here to explain what we can expect for the next 24 hours is Ben Whitney.
Good evening, Matt and Andrew. We will be under a cold weather advisory starting at 9 o'clock this evening. That'll be running until the noon hour tomorrow. Now, this is in effect for much of East Central Illinois, but it does exclude Effingham, Jasper, Crawford, and Vigo counties. All other ones not mentioned will be under this cold weather advisory, and that's for possible wind chill values tonight, getting down to minus 15 degrees. 18 degrees for our high in Charleston today, 21 degrees in Effingham, and 20 degrees in Decatur. For the most part, only up into the upper teens. Across our area region right now, 8 degrees in Chicago. Looking a little closer to home, still sitting at those high temperatures. Overnight tonight, chance for snow returns to the area, 4 degrees for our overnight low. I'll have more on the remaining weather chances coming up later on tonight.
Thanks, Ben. Now back to our top story. The Will Rogers Theater in downtown Charleston was once a popular hub for moviegoers, but today it sits empty and is deteriorating.
Now, over the weekend, I learned why community members are raising concerns about its future and their goal of preserving a piece of city history.
Howard Logue. In the late 1970s, he worked as a projectionist at the Will Rogers Theater in downtown Charleston. Now, his daughter, Charleston native Laura King, stands outside the once thriving theater, recalling past memories of her father.
I remember the curtains were huge up on stage. And I remember my dad would be like, stay away from the curtains. If they fall, they will probably hurt you.
That same theater, which once held 1,000 seats in its single auditorium, now sits empty since it closed in 2010. Kit Maurice, vice chair of the Charleston Historic Preservation Commission, says there's growing concern about the theater's future.
We're just concerned about the current state. We're very supportive of any restoration efforts that are going to move forward.
Maurice says the Will Rogers Theater is more than just a building. It's a symbol of Charleston's identity.
And it tells our story. It's so important to us as a community. And, every community's story is unique, and those older buildings help tell that story.
In an effort to save the historic landmark, community members gathered Saturday at Jackson Avenue Coffee to design posters and cards, hoping to raise awareness. Community members then took those posters down to the theater. Supporters tell us they fear the building's condition may soon reach a point of no return.
We hate to see the building fall into such disrepair that the city will make them tear it down.
Maurice says concern comes from over a decade of inaction.
It's been 14 years since it's been under the current ownership, and there was a point where it looked as though it was going to be resold for back taxes at a sheriff's sale, but then the same owner ended up coming up with the money and rebuying it. In the 14 odd years that it's been owned, There's been very little exterior work done.
The preservation group Landmarks Illinois has listed the Will Rogers on its list of most endangered historic places. For now, the future of this once beloved Charleston landmark remains unclear.
NewsWatch reached out to the current owner of the Will Rogers Theater, Katie Ciccoli, who says the renovation project is a massive financial undertaking, exceeding costs of $3 million. Ciccoli says her company has pursued multiple grant opportunities, several of which have been denied, but she remains committed to restoring the building. Ciccoli says once restored, the theater will serve as a historical multi-use arts venue with live entertainment, film screenings, and educational programs. You can find Ciccoli's full response as well as a breakdown of her future plans on our website, weiu.net, under News Headlines. In the meantime, members of the Charleston Historic Preservation Commission tell us they're hopeful the community is aware of their concerns about the theater and will rally behind their efforts to preserve it. The group hopes to have more events like this in the future.
In other news tonight, a bird collected in central Illinois tests positive for avian flu, also known as bird flu. Health officials say the hawk was collected in Effingham County on February 11th, and the University of Illinois Veterinary Diagnostic Lab conducted the test. The Effingham County Health Department is monitoring the situation and says, as a precaution, avoid direct contact with wild birds. They say don't handle or attempt to capture waterfowl or other birds that appear sick. The flu is widespread in birds, causing outbreaks in poultry and dairy cows. Trump administration officials are working on a plan to fight the avian flu. The Director of National Economic Council, Kevin Hassett, and Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, will be laying out the plan, which touches on biosecurity issues and medication that will avoid killing chickens. The United States' current approach to the virus is eradication, but the USDA says strategy may change due to other types of animal being affected. Officials say their plan should be ready to present to the president by next week.
A man is in custody after a possible attempted kidnapping in Arthur early this morning. We have no names to release, but Arthur police say the man approached a young female, battered her, and took off. Police say a witness chased the suspect until he let the girl go. They say they located the suspect in Lovington. The young girl was taken to the hospital for treatment, and the investigation is ongoing. In tonight's Court Watch, a man accused of murdering a Paris resident enters a plea agreement and is headed to prison. 27-year-old Tyler Poole is accused of attacking 59-year-old C.K. Ney with a knife in 2023. Court records show Poole pleaded guilty but mentally ill last week and will serve 27 years for the crime. Poole was originally found unfit to stand trial, but was recently ruled fit by a court-approved psychologist. Local firefighters are reminding residents to check their smoke detectors. On Friday afternoon, a house fire broke out in Humboldt on Jefferson Street. Humboldt, Cooks Mills, and Arcola Fire Protection District worked more than 5 hours to put out the blaze. A cause has not been released, but officials say the residents escaped the house with no injuries. Humboldt Fire Protection District says to regularly check your smoke detectors and have an escape route in place.
The state's new top transportation official has officially been on the job for 1 month. Capital News Illinois reports Gia Biaggi, an urban planner from Chicago, took over for the Illinois Department of Transportation in January. Biaggi said her goal at IDOT will be to speed up construction projects, even if it means more disruption to daily life. She said it would be, quote, a good kind of disruption, and IDOT's current multi-year spending plan outlines $44 billion of maintenance and upgrades to the state's highway system, railroads, airports, and more. A lot of people enjoyed the day off as the nation observes President's Day. The federal holiday falls in the third month of February every year, and it's officially named Washington's birthday in honor of America's first president, George Washington. Although his actual birthday is February 22nd, President's Day is brought in to commemorate President Abraham Lincoln, who was born on February 12th. The U.S. Postal Service and non-essential government offices are closed. Banks shut down for the day, and U.S. stock markets are not trading.
Good evening. It was Admitted Student Day at EIU. All the prospective freshmen today not only got to see campus with snow on the ground, but also had to brave those cold temperatures like all of us college students did today. Up into the mid to upper teens across East Central Illinois today. 18 degrees for our high in Charleston. We did reach the 20s in Effingham and in Decatur, our warmest point being in Effingham with a high of 21. Overnight tonight, we will be seeing those temperatures dropping back down, even colder, down closer to 0 tonight. 4 degrees for our overnight low. Some of the area will be seeing some flurries overnight tonight. though clouds will be clearing a little bit closer to sunrise, with winds coming in from the north at 10 to 15 miles an hour and gusting up to 20 miles an hour. We will be under a cold weather advisory in Charleston from 9 p.m. tonight until noon tomorrow. That affects all the counties in the area, that does exclude, though, Effingham, Jasper, Crawford, and Vigo counties. We could be seeing wind chill values down near negative 15 degrees overnight tonight. 16 degrees for our high tomorrow. Again, starting out the day with some more sunny skies than we saw today, though gradually those clouds will be moving back into east central Illinois for the evening period, and we will see the chance for some snow returning back on Wednesday. And speaking of those wind chill values right now, you can see early in the morning tomorrow, it's going to be very cold, 7 and 8 a.m., minus 12-degree wind chills tomorrow. And even once we reach our warmest point tomorrow, which is in the early afternoon, still negative wind chill values. So it'll definitely be a wise idea to bundle up tomorrow because it will be very cold in east central Illinois. Looking at our futurecast right now, again, mostly cloudy skies overhead, though that will be changing overnight tonight. This is a little bit closer to midnight, but we will be seeing a few flurries predominantly around the southern half of our viewing area. You see right here, closer to midnight tonight, areas around Shelbyville, Charleston, Casey, Newton, and Robinson. We'll be seeing that snow moving through the area. Again, most of this snow will be centralized around the southern half of our viewing area. We will be seeing those clouds lighten up a little bit closer to closer to the afternoon tomorrow. But again, those clouds will be moving back into east central Illinois, and that pre-tells our snow system that we will be seeing on Wednesday. Snow totals for tonight. Most of the area in this lighter blue color will be seeing less than a half an inch of snowfall, and some in that darker blue region will be seeing a little bit closer to an inch overnight tonight. Again, tomorrow, 16 degrees with clouds starting to build into Wednesday, where we will see our next wave of winter weather moving into east central Illinois. 20 degrees for our high on Wednesday, and we will finally start to be seeing warming temperatures on Thursday with a high of 21. Looking at preliminary totals right now, Emily Davis will be back tomorrow with a full breakdown of the winter weather system moving through. A half an inch of snow further to the northern reaches of our viewing area. Most will be seeing right around an inch or so, but note the darker blue colors here. Areas in Effingham and Jasper County could be seeing closer to 4 inches of snow with this system moving through. And despite the wintry weather, we are getting closer and closer to the spring season. The end of daylight savings, or the beginning of daylight saving time, in 20 days from today. That'll be taking place on Sunday, March 9th at 2 in the morning, where we will be jumping the clocks back forward. Looking at the rest of your 7-day outlook, temperatures will be starting to warm for the weekend. A high of 28 degrees for Friday, back into the mid-30s for the start of the weekend. And despite the snow on Sunday, temperatures will be getting back closer to the mid-40s. So one thing's for sure, it'll definitely be cold for the next few days in east central Illinois.
Yeah, everybody's got to make sure to bundle up because that cold weather, no joke.
I was going to say, cold days ahead for sure. Thanks, Ben. And still to come tonight, an Indiana teen is in custody accused of planning a massive school shooting.
But first, several people are dead after record rainfall and flooding in Kentucky. That story's coming up. Thanks for watching. This is NewsWatch on WEIU.
A possible high school shooting is stopped in Indiana. Now, a teenager is in custody for plotting to carry out what she called Parkland Part 2. Reporter Kyla Russell reports.
I get to take my girls. We're going to celebrate the long weekend and go skiing this weekend. And I get to hug and kiss them and be with them. And not everybody has that experience when this happens.
Dr. Addie Angelov has 2 kids at Mooresville. One that eats lunch each day inside the cafeteria, police say was at the center of Shockley's devastating plan. It's a plan that started inside this apartment, where Shockley lived just a few miles from the high school.
Did Trinity live here? Did she?
A tip to the FBI and a conversation Shockley had with a school counselor led police to the apartment. It was within these four walls that Shockley spent over a month planning what Shockley called Parkland Part 2. Inside, they found assault rifle magazines, photos of convicted mass shooters, and notebooks littered with plans to kill.
No mass shooting today at Mooresville High School, and our community is forever grateful.
Shockley spoke to a detective on Wednesday and said it was all a joke. She also said she didn't have access to a gun. Shockley did say she had mental health problems and identified as trans. Shockley was arrested after that conversation and charged Thursday. Matt Key is a Mooresville parent and lives 2 blocks from the high school. He wants answers.
To figure out what they're doing, what's going on, what's going to be done about it, what's going to happen later in the future.
One that eats lunch each day inside the cafeteria, police say was at the center.
A judge ruled Shockley would be held without bond until at least tomorrow when a bail hearing is scheduled. Winter storms pummeled the eastern U.S. over the weekend, killing at least a dozen people. Officials say 11 of those people died in Kentucky during heavy flooding. Governor Andy Beshear says at least 1,000 people were stranded by floods and had to be rescued. In Alabama, the Weather Service in Birmingham confirmed an EF1 tornado touched down in Hale County. A state of emergency was declared for parts of Obion County, Tennessee, after a levee failed on Saturday, flooding a small community. The National Weather Service is warning of life-threatening cold into Tuesday, with temperatures in northeastern Montana predicted to dip as low as 45 degrees below zero. A volcano in Alaska could be ready to blow. Researchers say hundreds of small earthquakes have happened over the past 10 months beneath Mount Spur, about 75 miles west of Anchorage. The Alaska Volcano Observatory also says there are deformations in the earth in the area. Scientists say those two things indicate that something's going on underneath the surface, likely magma moving within the earth. However, experts say there's about a 50-50 chance Spur will erupt, and there's no way of telling when that might be. Andrew Spade now rejoins the newscast with tonight's sports headlines.
Thanks, Matt. We'll have a story of 2 brothers and their special connection on the Charleston High School basketball team. But first, the U of I men's basketball team wants back in the top 25. Can they get there by beating Michigan State? One team comes up with a strong second half rally, and we'll have the highlights.
Ready to watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere, on nearly any device? It's easy with the PBS Video app. Simply download the PBS Video app on your mobile or streaming device. Now you can watch the latest PBS episodes or catch up on the shows you missed. And when you support your local station, you can get PBS Passport, giving you access to more episodes, more specials, more of what you love. Get the PBS Video app now and stream the best of PBS anytime you want, anywhere you are.
The high school basketball season is winding down, and all season long, fans of this team got to watch a little sibling rivalry. I had the chance to talk to these identical players about their connection on the court. The Charleston High School boys basketball team has an 11-16 record on the season. Currently on the roster, the Trojans have 5 seniors, 2 with a special connection.
They just know where each other are going to be. They feed off of each other. Sometimes one will tell the other one to be quiet and vice versa.
And one of those 2 players is senior Andrew Kuykendall, who knows why this year's team really connects.
It's really just the chemistry. Like this team this year, we've been playing together since 3rd grade.
You're not seeing double though. Andrew has a twin brother named Alex, who's also a senior for the Trojans. He knows that having that brotherly bond pays off on the court.
I just know like what he's gonna do when he's gonna do it. So like, with like not even talking to him, like we think the same exact way. Anytime he's on the court, like the chemistry is definitely there. Like I can just feel where he is. I basically know what he's gonna do.
3 points, Andrew Kuykendall.
They've played more minutes of basketball together than most people in the state of Illinois, all the way from the time that they were in 1st and 2nd grade through their senior year in high school. They've been on the court together.
The Kuykendall twins aren't just stars on the Trojans basketball team, they're also stars on the Trojans golf team.
I'd probably say I got the edge on him in golf right now. but we go back and forth, so it's pretty competitive. I'm gonna be honest, he got me in golf this year, but I think I got him in basketball this year.
Just a really neat relationship that they have. It's neat to have twins who are athletic and who can play, and we're going to miss them sorely in the future here at Charleston, just because of that leadership and that relationship that they have.
Up next for the Kuykendall Twins and the rest of the Trojans, they take on Mount Zion tonight on the road at 7. And following tonight's game, they'll hit the road tomorrow against Paris, then close out the season at Mattoon on Friday. Taking things to Champaign, the Illini are looking to make a case in their rematch against number 14th ranked Michigan State. Tipping things off, Kasper Siakachonis drives in for the layup and narrowly misses, but never fear, Morris Johnson Jr. is here as he double-hand dunks the ball to give the Illini the first lead of the game. The Illini keep coming with Kasper Siakachonis making the pass to Morris Johnson Jr., who takes flight and sends the State Farm Center into a frenzy. Siakachonis isn't done putting on a show, taking the rock from outside to the three-point line, rolling in the shot and off the background and earning the and one to cap off a spectacular play to keep the momentum up for Illinois. Shifting to the second, and it's a completely different story. The Spartans are on a fast break looking to take the lead. Morris Johnson Jr. has different plans as he fully stretches out to block the shot with both hands. Michigan State will go on a 15-point run in the last 8.5 minutes, leaving the State Farm Center with a 79-65 victory. And with this win, Spartans head coach Thomas Izzo passes Bob Knight for the most Big Ten Conference wins of all time. And also from the Illini, Morris Johnson Jr. has been sidelined indefinitely with a broken wrist. The U of I women's team is on a 7-game win streak. Can they take down a struggling Nebraska squad? We begin here with Bryn Schupill sending up the three-pointer and cutting Nebraska's lead to just 1. Barry Wallace backs off that shooting and draining the mid-range jumper, but Illinois is still down. Not for long as this Barry Wallace again, this time hitting one of her 3 team-high three-pointers. Skipping to later in the game, Adelia McKenzie passes in the ball, but it's too high. The Cornhuskers can't secure it, so McKenzie says, "Give me that," taking it all the way. In the end, Illinois comes out with a 77-68 win over Nebraska, highlighted by a 23-point performance from Adelia McKenzie.
Like I always tell these guys, and I firmly believe it, when you work hard and when you have extreme effort, you know, the game favors that, and usually the ball ends up in your hands, and we just had a lot of those 50-50 winning plays tonight to secure this, but unbelievable performance by all these guys.
Illinois improves to 21-5 on the season and earns a spot back in the AP Top 25, landing at number 25. Up next, the Fighting Illini hit the road for a West Coast stretch, taking on UCLA and USC on Thursday and Sunday. The Eastern Illinois men's and women's teams try to keep up in their playoff race against UT Martin. The women's team is up first, fighting for first place in the OVC. The Panthers take this one 66-62, and Mason McGlone leads the team in points with 22 on the night. The women are third place in the conference behind Tennessee Tech and Lindenwood. For the men, they fall short 72-68, and despite the loss, Kyle Shelton, RT Stapleton, and Zion Brewster all score in double digits. Both the women's and men's teams will be back in action Thursday, taking on Southern Indiana, and the men sit at last place in the conference. Now we move to Indiana State baseball, where they get a football-like score. The Sycamores take on Wagner in a 3-game series, and Wagner wins the first, but ISU comes back winning the last 2 games, 16-6 and 36-6. In the blowout, the Sycamores hit 4 home runs, coming from Carlos Pena, Jeremy Martinez, Jorge Cartagena, and Nick Sutherland. Indiana State will look to continue their success tomorrow when they travel to Fort Myers to take on Florida Gulf Coast. Finally, Eastern softball closes out the Cardinal Classic, losing to Troy 10-2 on Sunday. Eastern tied the game at 2 apiece in the 4th, but Troy put together a 7-run 5th inning to help seal the victory. The Panthers are 3-7 on the season and travel to Louisiana to play Stephen F. Austin on Saturday. That's a wrap on sports. Matt, back to you.
Thanks for that, Andrew. Now, finally tonight, this next story is just bananas. And it's certainly a first for the New Hampshire Fish and Game Law Enforcement Division. The group responded to a local grocery store where an employee had called in about a surprise stowaway, a snake found hidden inside a box of bananas. The snake was a 2-foot-long ornate cat eye, a mildly venomous species that is native to Ecuador. The New Hampshire Fish and Game Department wrote on its Facebook that its conservation officers safely recovered the snake and have since found him a new home with the Rainforest Reptiles, an organization that produces animal shows and supports a reptile refugee and sanctuary. Well, I definitely don't do snakes, and I'm really over this cold weather too, Ben.
Well, it will be cold for quite a couple more days, Matt. Overnight tonight, 4 degrees for our overnight low. Some of the southern regions of our area will be seeing some snow flurries tonight. Now, we will be under a cold weather advisory starting at 9 o'clock tonight. That's for all counties in our viewing area, except for Effingham, Jasper, Crawford, and Vigo counties. That's for some very low wind chills tonight, possibly being down to -15. 16 degrees for your high tomorrow. We'll start out the day with a little bit sunnier of a sky, but those clouds will be building as we get to the evening hours tomorrow, and we will see the return of some wintry weather on Wednesday. And looking at the rest of your week ahead, 20 degrees for Wednesday, 21 degrees for Thursday. Then temperatures will finally be warming back up by the weekend. 36 degrees on Saturday. We will see a chance for snow returning to the forecast on Sunday, but for next week, temperatures will be warmer, highs possibly in the mid-40s. That was a final look at your Skywatch forecast. Back to the desk.
All right, thanks, Ben. And thank you for spending part of your day with us here at Newswatch. If you have a news tip, feel free to send us an email or even call the newsroom.
Headlines to the Skywatch forecast can be found around the clock on WEIU.net. Coming up next on WEIU, DW's The Day. Good night.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection, commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.